And please understand, let me go back to when we first started today. I understand that we need to collaborate with each other and that we need to start working together. But there's gotta be a separation, okay? Me or the district not expanding this to allow LCEA to use the email system. It's not me not saying to you that you don't wanna collaborate. It's creating a separation between your members, your organization, and us. It is obvious that there are some conflicting feelings as to what, or perceptions of what the district does or does not do. And based on what we discussed at the beginning, I can't. I'm actually protecting your employees by not allowing the communication to happen that way. Because if negative communication happens through email, then we have a problem. A documented public record problem. So I understand.
So how do other districts handle
it.
that?
I'm gonna be as clear as I can be. I do not care what other districts do. And I'm gonna be honest. I don't. I only care about what happens in my district. Okay? And I'm not being mean about it. I have to concentrate in us, work on us, not what other districts are doing. So when I look at contract, when it comes to bargaining, I mean, I believe I explained this in one of the other sessions. There is no statute that mandates a districts that has to provide union. What they say is that in the state of Florida, and this I reviewed with our board attorney, it's bargain. You can bargain it, which is what we're doing. It's up to the district whether they want to allow to use that resource for communication. We extended the communication to exactly those topics. Agreement in language, changes, contract verification, voting results, any type of meeting information. That's it. You can communicate with all your members with that information, nothing else. If you want to communicate with members in any other type of way or any other topic, you have their personal communication. They're your members. It's not a responsibility for the district to provide that. And it has to be a set separation. And I'm gonna be honest with you, right now, there's an email that went out with a survey. That's not even part of the contract.
So I guess I'm confused about that because we explicitly talked about surveys being allowed during bargaining.
I don't recall that. I know that you said that, but then I start looking at surveys and I'm like, you know what? If I were to read a contract, a survey is a violation of contract.
So I guess I'm really.
No,
confused.
no, but that's when, if you want to send surveys, you can use Picture and send all the surveys you want. Just like any other company out there that sends surveys, they go through our district Picture system for that.
So I just had a member literally say today, they got an email from the University of Alabama.
They paid to send a survey.
Through the regular email, not through Peachtree,
Yeah,
through email.
and
Well,
I know for a fact, I sat here with you, with Mr. Farnsworth, and we talked about how our bargaining unit members should have a right to have their bargaining contract regulated by our bargaining unit and the ability to sort of survey. So I guess I'm a little confused because on one hand, we're saying we want to collaborate and we want to work together in communication, but at the same time, you're saying you want to create a separation. And we already have a separation.
No, I'm not creating.
Members.
You want to use our email system for your organization. I'm being very clear.
Mhm.
Use your own communication with your members, period. It is very clear. I'm not preventing you from communicating with them. We are very clear with the contract. Explicitly clear. But like, let me, when the type of what we discussed is at the beginning with the press releases and the negative tone of all that, and and I know we discussed it and we're gonna move forward. No, I can't. I don't see myself how your communication or members that are the ones driving your communication will behave using our system.
Well, we have sent out communication through the district, and we have sent it to you for approval, and we have had conversations about that. So what we communicate to our members through personal email is not the same as what we communicate district-wide.
Well, I am going to be clear with the email and carrier system. Stick to contract, okay? I am not deviating from it.
So I think that this is a misstep, that we're not willing to look at what other districts are doing and to say that we don't care about what other districts are doing, including this language. Does not send a good signal to our educators who are constantly seeing what other districts are doing and saying, why isn't Lake County doing this? Why isn't Lake County doing this? It's not helpful for morale. It's not helpful to attract and retain our employees. And this is a free thing. This costs the district no money.
Well, it's there for a reason, so we're gonna.
And I
keep
would
it that way.
agree that other districts have realized that the collaboration is more important. And so moving forward, I would say it's something that we need to look at.
At this time, we're not gonna deviate from it, just. I'm being very clear today with the communication. From now on, we're gonna keep it clean. And I need it to stay to contract.
And you know that our members are your employees as well.
Correct.
So, and the things that we communicate
I-
is to all employees of Lake County Schools.
I don't have an issue telling my members that I don't have a problem with you communicating with them with contract language, contract ratification, election voting result, or meeting information, period. If they want to communicate anything about you other than that, they have a personal email they can choose because they're paying you a membership fee. They should communicate with you however you communicate with them, not through our email system.
So then I guess it would go back to what I said at the beginning, that we need to work better on collaboration with communication. Because a lot of the communication we're doing is helping educators understand things. It's not being communicated by the district.
And I would, honestly, I think from today, probably we need to start working better at collaboration with communication. But we started the meeting that way. And we are probably gonna have to work on it, because based on what has been said on press releases, I'll be honest with you, it's not. And I know that you say I'm sorry and you take full responsibility. Your messaging is not, it's driven by your members, but it needs to change. And I don't feel comfortable or agree with allowing our email system to be used through your members that any other way than that, than what's in the contract. I have it based on all your press releases, just on that. Why would I?
But we have not sent a single piece of that through district email.
No, I know,
Or
we
we
wouldn't.
wouldn't.
but that's the message that I'm seeing outside, so why would I?
There's a difference between what people put on social media and what people do in their professional communication. Don't you agree?
I think we can agree to disagree on this topic. So. I do agree with the last sentence. No material should be sent through the district email, which violates federal, state, and local laws.
So, could I just ask for clarification, because as I mentioned earlier, there was a statement made during bargaining about surveys and collecting data for our bargaining unit members. So are you saying we're not allowed to do that now? Either?
You say that I said in bargaining that you can send surveys.
It was a meeting with you, Mr. Farnsworth, and it was a bargaining meeting or a bargaining subcommittee meeting. And we were discussing emails last year. And it was said, we understand that you need to collect data from your bargaining unit members, because honestly, that is like, it's either a state statute or it's part of.
Well, I will clarify that tomorrow. I'll talk to Mr. Farnsworth tomorrow.
Okay.
If he calls that, then I will.
Because we have to have the ability to regulate and
I will
work on
check,
our
I will
collective
check that
bargaining.
on that meeting. I don't recall that. I do recall us talking about communication. I just don't recall exactly that word surveys. So, but, again, I will check with him to see on when we met and discussed that. So,
Elizabeth, might I say something?
I think it's also important to remember, Mr. Zamora, that as an organization, we represent the entire bargaining unit of instructional personnel, not just our members. So the framing of that is, as a bargaining unit member, I feel like is inappropriate. Because if we're trying to communicate with the entire unit, right? If you're not a member, for example, of LCEA, and we don't have your personal information, you might not know that we're trying to collect information on your working conditions or your teaching conditions. You may not know that. So we're trying to make sure that we get to everyone because we do represent people who are not dues paying members. So that's part of the reason why surveys would be helpful if we're surveying the entire unit so that we can gain a better understanding for people that are not only members. If this was only about a member discussion, if we were only trying to target members, I can see it from your perspective. Well, why don't they just email their own people? They have all their email addresses. That's correct. But we don't just represent members. We represent the entire instructional bargaining unit. People who are not dues paying members, people who have not given us their personal email addresses. So we need to be able to contact them and let them know we are trying to negotiate these things. We need to hear your voice. Is this something that you would like us to continue to speak to or move with that understanding? So I just wanted to clarify just that little piece that we're not just here for members. We're here for the entire unit. And if it's just related to their working conditions, their teaching conditions, contractual things, to cut those people off from that knowledge. We don't know why they're not members. Maybe they can't afford it, maybe whatever, but we don't want it to be that they never knew what was happening in a broad sense, not in a targeted, be a member of LCEA. Just know what is happening on your behalf. And if you're not happy, then we can also know that as well. But at least we gave them the opportunity to understand what was being asked for on their behalf. Does that make sense a little bit better? I mean, you may not agree with me, but I just wanted to share that piece.
noted.